everybody, welcome to Superhuman Customs. I'm Stephen Human, and this week I am not holding a figure like I usually do. This week we're going to do a recap. It's New Year's. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. We're going to talk about my top 5 customs for the year. So the 5 that I enjoyed the most, which tended to be the ones that actually got the most views. So I'm excited to talk about these. Now this year, I only started this last year in 2022, customizing figures. And this year, obviously, I did at least one every single week. I had some where I did shorts and just did quick little things. So there have been a lot of figures that have passed through this house and are on those shelves. Some of them eventually became gifts, all that stuff. But it has been so much fun to be able to customize. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos. Honestly, that's why I do them. I get a kick out of doing them. And it's become like my chosen art form, my form of expression with painting figures. Hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you've experimented too and you've gotten a little bit of courage to do things that you wouldn't have done in the past. I know I have. So let's go ahead and let's jump right in. So we're going to do the top 5 and we're going to start with number 5, which is the Eradicator. Now, for those of you who wanted to get an Eradicator and could never find one, I was the same way, man. I hunted for weeks and weeks trying to find this guy because he was a Walmart exclusive. You couldn't find him anywhere. Like I'm a part of a toy hunter group here in my local area, and somebody would post, say, "Oh, I just saw him at Walmart." We would run, Sam and I would go, and they'd be gone. But luckily, a toy hunter in the area had one and was selling it for $25, and so I bought it. And what I did with it is that we took the head from the Devastator 2-pack with the Superman, and I created the visor out of a piece of blast material from a different figure. What I learned from this figure was that, and what I would do differently, is that I would fix the visor. The visor is not quite perfect. I kind of was like shocked that it worked the first time, that I was able to get the shape right. And I put it on the figure and glued it in place. And then I noticed that around the nose, it was a little bit jagged and stuff. And so from toy distance, it looks really great, but any closer than that, you can kind of see that. But he still turned out really awesome. And the fact that he was such a rare figure, hard one to find, it made it very worth it. So that is number 5. Number 4 is OMN Man. Okay, so I found the big beefy Superman, and I had just done an Invincible figure, and I thought, I'm going to do an OMN Man. And so I used Milliput on him. I had just gotten into Milliput. Someone online had pointed it out to me. I love Milliput, for all of you guys who watch the show regularly. And Milliput is awesome. It's a resin that basically hardens into a plastic. So I did that for the mustache and for the O on his chest and all the extra details. I took hair from another figure and got rid of the weird Superman, the Frank Miller funky hair, and he turned out really, really great, and he was super fun, and he's been way popular. He's one of the top viewed videos for the year, and people just love OMN Man. So that is number 4. Now on to number 3 is Invincible. So the week before I did OMN Man, I found an Impulse figure for $5 at Target on clearance. And so when I had seen him originally, I was like, that would make a really great Invincible figure. And so when I found him for super cheap, I was like, I'm going to snatch him up. And I did, and I immediately started working on Invincible. And I tried a couple of different techniques with clay and stuff to make it so the lines would be, perfect. And it didn't really work, but again, it was an experimentation, just trying my hand at it. But he turned out really great. He looked awesome. I shared pictures online on some of the McFarlane and some of the customization groups, and it just went like wildfire. People loved this figure. And I'm a huge Invincible fan. I have every one of his comics. So for me, having a McFarlane version of Invincible is awesome. And he's on the shelf just right over here, over my shoulder. I don't know if you can see him. You can't. But he's over there with OMN Man, and he is awesome. So that is number 3. Now, on to number 2. Number 2 and number 1 are my personal favorites. And I had a hard time kind of juggling which was going to be. And even right now in my brain, I'm like, well, which one is it? Well, so number 2 is going to be Doomsday. When this figure was announced in the 2-pack with the Superman, I was so excited because I had made a Doomsday figure out of a Devastator that I had gotten. But I was always like, he's not quite big enough. Even from the original comics, he wasn't as big as how he's drawn generally today. But I wanted a bigger Doomsday, personally. So when I saw this one, I was so excited. And I got him on the day it came out. I pre-ordered him, which I never ever do. He arrived with the Superman, and immediately I customized him. I added the spikes on his shoulders. I used milliput. We spruced him up. I cut the ponytail off and put it in a different position so that it wouldn't look quite so weird, like he had a ponytail coming out of the top of his head, like he was, cheerleader Doomsday. And he turned out so amazing. And I love Doomsday. He's one of those characters that's like, when he's written right, he's kind of like Bane. When he's written right, he's awesome. When he's not written right, he's just, fodder to throw around. Somebody can beat Doomsday, so that means that they're better than Superman, or whatever. But when written correctly, he's a force of nature that is just hugely destructive and can be a wonderful antagonist to Superman or to any other number of characters. So having that toy and having him look so cool has been an absolute joy for the year. And I was able to try a few new things when it came to darkening up a figure and then lightening him up. I was able to do a little bit of that. And you'll see that in the coming weeks too, of how I've progressed with that. So now on to number one. And my personal number one of the year is Lex Luthor in his big giant battle armor. I think I bought the Carapax body for $11 at Target on clearance with no idea of what I was planning on doing with him. I got home and I was like, well, I could do this or this. And then I kind of had the idea, well, you could do a Lex Luthor in his big bulky armor. And as soon as I started working on him and I got the head on, I was just like, yes, this is amazing. And then for the first time, I was able to really get my metallics down so that things looked like metal. I'd never really gotten it down since starting this. I would either use too much of the metallic or I wouldn't go in any layers. I would just kind of lay them down and it never really looked right. I mean, I've got figures that I had experimented with early in the year that just didn't work. And I was disappointed with the final product in the use of the metallics. And with him, it kind of finally clicked in my brain on how to get it to work. And he turned out so amazing with just the metallics, and it looks like he's made of metal and that it's been painted to be the his standard purple and green color, and then adding the glow in the dark paint so that it lights up. And that just, I absolutely love how this figure turned out. And the fact that he was just original, that it was one of those things that wasn't planned on. I kind of had an opportunity and made something work. And it was just like, yes, this is why I customize, is for stuff like that, is to have a figure that doesn't exist anywhere else and that is super cool and unique. And man, he's my number one for the year. So those are my top five. Most of them have been watched a ton of times. And so I know that you guys really like them as well. Now, this being the end of the year, I don't want to just leave you guys hanging with those were the top five. We've got some good stuff coming your way. So next week, we're doing a Dark Side. The Snyderverse Dark Side. I've been nervous about doing anything to that figure because I love Dark Side, and that's a really difficult figure to find with the armor. But we're going to do it. We're going to go through and we're going to make that metallic really shine because now I'm more confident with it. We're going to darken him up and then lighten him up so that he's got the crags and stuff. Super excited. We're also going to do a Prometheus, who's a lesser known Justice League figure. We're going to do a couple of Batman figures, a Snyder Batman, and we're going to change around the Flash Batman that I made. So be excited about that. We're going to do a Despero. And for those of you who don't know, he's a bigger character, and I'm actually going to mold the face out of milliput. We're going to do a super soldier from the Amalgam universe, a mixture of Superman and Captain America. We're going to do the Justice Lords. All of these things are coming up in the coming months. And some of them are actually done at this point. Like I did them even months ago and they just haven't made the rotation because other figures have come up. And so I'm going to be really honest, some of them straight up suck. Like a couple of the Justice Lords, I discovered while doing the Justice Lords that if I don't care for the figure or for the character that the figure's based on, I don't do as good a job. I just naturally don't. I either go too fast or whatever. Justice Lords are not my favorite. Two of them turned out awesome and amazing, and two of them are steaming piles of garbage. And I'll be very honest in when we make them, if how they turned out, so that you can learn that sometimes the stuff just doesn't work. And if you don't have a passion for what it is you're doing and you don't put the effort in, that the figure is going to be garbage. So That is what we have to look forward to in 2024. So much goodness. And obviously I'm going to keep collecting and finding things, and if I find a deal, I'm going to try and come up with something. That's why we're doing the Prometheus, is that I had some bodies left over from when Ross had all of those figures for $5, and I had a Lex Luthor figure, and so that's why I'm doing Prometheus. So I'm going to try and keep things and do popular characters and lesser known characters. If you guys have anything that you're excited about or that you want to see on the show, just message me here on one of the videos. Just say, hey, I'd like this one. And if I'm not interested in it, I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to say, I don't care for that character, and so I'm not going to do it. But sometimes I've had people mention stuff, and I'm like, boom, that's genius. And I do it. So don't be afraid to contact me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know, we hit over 1,000 subscribers this year, and we just keep growing. And so share it if you guys know people who are into custom action figures, or just like to have fun with this, or want to learn a few things and maybe, you know, learn what not to do as well. Then, you know, subscribe. Tell them to subscribe and join us here every week, because every Thursday I'm posting a new video, and I don't see when that's going to stop, because I have so many figures in the hopper already, along with others that are coming out that I'm excited about. So again, thank you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas season. I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I will see you in 2024 with Dark Side, some more fun stuff, and yeah, we're just going to keep moving. See you then.